Hello everyone and welcome to The Vortex, where lies and falsehoods are trapped and exposed. I'm Michael Voris. The church in the West is corrupted by so many weak or evil leaders that it has proved no match for the diabolical culture that surrounds it. It long ago gave up the ghost, refusing to go to war with the culture over abortion, contraception, no-fault divorce, or practically anything else. Leaders barely put up a fight, and for many of them, even that is an overstatement. But in other parts of the world, there is more than a pulse present. There is a reason for strong hope. You may remember a couple of weeks ago, we were delighted to host Bishop Anthony Bourgeois from Liberia here at Church Militant, our studios, for almost a full week. His Excellency sat down with us for a very thoughtful discussion on affairs in the church on each side of the Atlantic. Do you think there's a problem with the way that some leaders in the church are chasing after ecumenism as though it's its own end?
Ecumenism, when I was in the seminary, it seemed a wonderful idea, as a young man, Just like when the question of globalization came about, we were all excited. Globalization, everybody, global village, that, But to tell you the truth, I'm not against Christian unity.
Of course not.
I'm not, But I'm not very comfortable with the way ecumenism is being carried about, And I say through ecumenism, we are going to believe the same thing. We're going to worship the same way. It's not going to happen. Never, I don't think we will ever have the Lutherans saying Mass, as we say, even though, they talk about the real presence. Now, we can talk about the real presence because we have the Blessed Sacrament there. If the other guys say, talk about real presence, where? Yeah. Where? Or maybe, or maybe when they bring a few bottles full of wine and some bread, and that's the time you talk about real presence. And no, it's totally different.
It was a frank discussion, no holds barred, on conditions in the church and what needs to be done by both laity and leaders alike to help turn this mess around. We invite you to click on the link and watch the entire interview. His Excellency has a keen insight and grasp of the current crisis, and leaders like him need to be listened to by lay people. He was one of the African bishops at the Synod this past year in Rome, and he was down in the trenches along with many of his brother African bishops fighting to prevent the faith from being swamped by European and American influence. He is well aware, frighteningly aware, of the dangers that the Protestant heresy poses, for example, to the faith in Africa, having seen how it has ravaged the faith in the West. We at Church Militant are on a crusade to help right the wrongs, and we don't apologize for this. We embrace it as an act of love for Holy Mother Church. The evil, the rot, the corruption must be rooted out. There are many in the clergy that we speak to who are in total agreement with what we do and mightily encouraging. We spend much quality time with priests and bishops and religious and extremely dedicated laymen and women, and what they all have in common is the inability to be able to speak out clearly. Often they have asked us and thanked us for being a voice for them, and we absolutely plan on continuing this. We consider it a blessing to be able to speak for those who can't speak for themselves. These people who learn from and speak for love of the church, they love souls, they hate seeing the devil win anything. Even if he is defeated in the end, he still has influence and impact now, and any faithful Catholic should be begging for the grace to be used to defeat him and his wickedness. Bishop Anthony Bourgeois and men like him are players in this contest between heaven and hell, and he has dedicated himself and his diocese to fighting the evil one with all his might. So please, watch this interview in its entirety and add his voice to the others we have interviewed recently and begin to understand in full measure the great conflict that we are in, so that you may rise up to the occasion and help beat back Satan. There is no other reason for living than to defeat the enemy of God. God love you. I'm Michael Voris.